Hello, my name is Tanestus. Welcome to a new series where I want to learn the Axiom mod. And in my opinion, the best way to learn something is to actually use it. So my plan here is to create a world where I use the Axiom mod to actually create everything. I'll be watching tutorials at the same time, trying to pick up the basics. I've watched a couple of things leading into this, but I basically feel like I know nothing. So if you're wanting to see an expert, this is the wrong channel for that. But if you want to learn along with me and see some of the tricks that maybe I figure out along the way, then hopefully you will get something out of this. So first I want to create the world, and because I want to create something completely from scratch, I don't think I want to start in a normal world. So I think we will build a super flat world here. We don't want structures because if we want structures, I would like to create those structures myself. And then if we look at the super flat options, we have some presets here, and I'm thinking that I want to create an island. Quite a large island, but that way I'm really creating everything from scratch. But I'm not sure the best way to do this because the water world starts with like 90 blocks of water, which is probably too much. I could start in the void, but that's a little bit daunting. So here we have the redstone ready world. This is the one that I'm used to using. So we get 3 blocks of stone, 116 blocks of sandstone, and then the biome of desert. So I'm going to use this as the basis here. I don't often change this, but we'll default to a plains biome. That makes sense to me. And then I almost want to say we basically just want it to be stone. My idea here is to build something in like a fantasy way, or an alien way or something like that, rather than go for realistic things. And honestly, this is like good advice in Minecraft in general. If you're trying to build something weird or unusual, then there's less expectation, right? So I'm a big fan of building like alien forests and trying to use blocks in different ways and using unusual terracotta colors and stuff like that. Because really you can't go wrong. If it looks odd, then you can say that's intentional and it's fine, right? So we'll start with stone and we'll try to not use stone in any of the builds. But I am tempted to add some water here. That way it really is like a blank slate. So if we ever want to mine down, we will end up in stone, but the surface we could make into water. So yeah, so I think I'm going to add some water here. It's not here, this is the stone one. We want to add the water to this, where it's going to be sandstone. So I think I can just replace this with water. So it's going to be a plains biome, which has 10 layers of water on top of 120 layers of stone. And then, as usual, there's bedrock at the bottom. And yet that confirms that it has worked. So we will click done. And then just for some game rule settings here. Oh, there's some Axiom ones. Trample farmland. You can disable trampling farmland. That's interesting. And you can disable block gravity. I guess if you wanted to build something floating with gravel or sand. Okay, we definitely want command blocks. I don't know what I'm using this world for. It might be something where I put mini games on there or something like that. I genuinely have no final plans. I just want to experiment, build something cool, and learn along the way. So I think for now, I'm going to disable all of the mob spawning. We can enable this again in the future if we want to. And same for the world updates. I'm going to disable basically all of these. Oh, the fire spread's different. Do I just change fire spread to 0 and then it doesn't work? Vine spread I will turn off in case I want to build with vines in a particular way. But again, these can be changed in the future. So I think that's it. I think we're ready. I'm going to create this world now, and hopefully it's water on top of stone. Yes, this looks correct to me. Excellent. So we are here in a completely fresh world here. So it has started us near 0, 0. We might as well start building from here. Again, I have no final plans of what I want to do here. If we come here, I have played around with a couple of settings because I watched a tutorial. I do have infinite reach enabled, and I've set that to 35 blocks. I can change the liquid opacity, which is interesting because that will make the water more transparent, which we might want to do that actually. Did that work? Did that work? Okay, that didn't seem to work. We've got type replace on, which means we can replace blocks. And this is just to do with how we fly. But what we really want to do is we want to press the right shift key, and then we go into this fancy mode that I don't really know very well. So it's defaulted us to the painter tool, and it looks like it's selecting the stone there, which is interesting. So I wondered if when I'm using my cursor here, if it would select the water, but it seems to be skipping over that and selecting the stone, which I think is what we want for this. So my idea here is that we probably want to build up quite a flat platform. I'm thinking maybe we build some kind of a forest to begin with, because then I can play around with making some trees and trying to copy and paste them or something like that. So I want to create a landmass here. It's defaulting to stone. We probably want a different default block so that we're not affecting the stone underneath the water. Maybe we use andesite by default, and that way we can select all of the andesite and replace that with another block if we want. But I don't think we want the painter tool. I think we want something that's going to actually place blocks, because I think painting, if I just... Yes. So do you see, that is replacing the stone underneath the water. I'm very bad at the movement, by the way. I'm hoping to get better at that. So the painter tool is all about replacing blocks, which we will definitely use later on. But if I just Control Z and undo that, what I want to do is I want to place blocks on the stone. Now we do have this rock tool, which again gives us a sphere. But I think this allows us to actually place the rocks where we move our mouse here. And we probably want a bigger radius because we want it to go above the water, which is 10 blocks deep. So if we do 20 blocks here, oh, that is big. Let's just try this. Okay. I'm not mad about that, actually. So all I'm doing is holding right click as I move my mouse around here, and it is creating this kind of landmass. Oh, you can zoom out and zoom in with the scroll wheel. That's interesting. And that actually moves where I am as well. So it's not really zooming out, it's moving my camera character. I like this. I like that if we were creating like a coastal build here, I like the way that it's defaulted to go down into the water. I think that looks good. But I don't think that's what we want to do here. I think we want a much bigger area. So let's zoom out a bit more. Oh, there's clouds. And if we keep drawing around here, oh, that's gone above where we were. Interesting. So even if I start in the water here, and then I come across to our build, it's then going to build on top of it. This is so powerful already. This is such a powerful tool. I mean, that is really interesting, but that happened like 30 seconds after me saying I want a flat area. So I'm going to undo that. We're going to aim for this flat area, so we can come up against what we have before, and that's still quite flat. And I believe we can flatten this even more. I don't really know what shape I'm going for here. My imagination at this point, by the way, is that there's not going to be water around this biome that I'm creating. I'm thinking I'm creating a biome within the center of the island. So I'm not actually concerned about a coastline. I'm just trying to get the layout for this specific biome. I mean, already this kind of like drawing tool is just so fun. Oh, so when you go over the stuff that you've already placed, it doesn't build up above, but if I go to the left and build on top of what I've already built, it's then going to go above. So we can really start to expand this area. And I think, oh, and then we've created a lump. You know what? We'll keep the lump. We don't want it to be completely flat. We'll keep the lump. And then we'll bring this down here. Can you tell I don't really have a clue what I'm doing? And we don't want this to be like just a square area. We want it to have some interesting shapes here. So now we can see this area. This is a bit too straight down here. So So if we come and we like slightly bring this out, and then in here, maybe we bring this up a little bit and we touch in, and then we come out here, and then we bring this round. And into here. But we come back out because I actually liked that shape. I'm so far away. I don't know if that worked very well. Oh, so we ended up with kind of like a small ravine because I didn't go close enough to what had already been built. So this area on the outside is the same height as the rest of it. But yeah, we ended up with this kind of little area in between, which isn't too bad. But this is starting to look like quite a large spot. So I don't think we need any more than that. What should we do next? Do we want some smaller rocks? If we go down to like a radius of 7, 7's actually quite a big thing there. If we go down to 4, yeah. So we could start like building up some slightly higher areas. And I like that this is near that little ravine that we created. And then we'll create a little lump on top. Yeah, that's kind of something. And then we've got these 2 lumps here, which I quite like. Maybe we connect them together a little bit. I think we'll be able to smooth all of this out later. But for now, I'm just kind of playing around with things and getting used to the movement and the placing of things. I think let's expand this a little bit. Radius of 4 is still significant. So radius of 2 can add some little like flatter details. I could just keep right-clicking here. It's so fun to just paint things around. I'm certainly seeing why it's a powerful tool and why so many people are using it. But I wasn't expecting it to be this fun either, to just doodle. Okay. And we've got a big flat area here. This is probably what I wanted to focus on to begin with. I like that we have a little trench over here. Could even turn this into a river, to be honest. Remember, this isn't going to be ocean next to it, but we could definitely add a river in leading from another biome, maybe. But now let's have a look at some of the other tools that we have here. So we can change the biome. That will be very relevant later on because the entire world is just a plains biome at the moment. What I am looking for is I'd like to flatten. Is there a flatten tool? Melt. Does that? Oh, that creates... It's like a slight carving. Yeah. If we wanted to create a lake, I think that would be quite useful. Flood fill. Ooh. Fluid ball. So is this water? Oh, what have I done? So it places the water probably in the sphere, but then decides where it would end up based on Minecraft flowing water mechanics. That's interesting. So if we come over here, I'm getting sidetracked, but in a good way. Let's go back to the melting tool. Make it a little bit smaller. And then we'll melt a little bit more of this. Because I liked the idea of this river area. We can go beneath the water level here. But if we go to this fluid ball now and we place it, let's make sure we're sensible here and it's not above the kind of walls that we've created. If I just click there, and it flowed a little bit. I don't know, I'm struggling to think when that would be useful. Because I imagine you could just like fill a lake with water another way. Probably the flood fill way. Let's try that. Oh, that actually shows you, this looks so much better. Because rivers in Minecraft are often not flowing water. How do I go on to something else now? Oh, hold on a minute. Oh, that wasn't filling it with water. That is like a fill tool, like an actual fill tool. So if we wanted to meticulously flatten this area, we could go through and fill in all of these little gaps that we've got, like this. So my question for this is, if I do this, is it also going to fill in that hole? Hold on, I can change modes, can't I? So if I punch a hole in here, and then we go back to this mode, and I paste in here, and then we go back to this mode, has that hole that was there filled in? It has. Assuming that was the right place. So that's really cool. So if I do want to flatten this area, like how, let me just see how far this is filling. So we can change the limit here. Oh, I like this. I really like this. But if we wanted to fill that area, and then we suddenly get a flat area to work with. Yeah, that is interesting. And we could do the same there, and we could do the same there, and we could do the same in some of these. That is an interesting tool. Now, we've arguably made it less interesting by flattening it, but it was very lumpy, which I don't think is quite a good way to do terrain. I don't think that looked particularly interesting. Now, what I do want is like an area that's maybe one block higher and one block lower. So we have this elevation tool. Oh. What does this do? Oh. So I don't understand the red cylinder. I don't know what that's trying to tell me, because that looks like it's floating above. But if I right click, it's actually going to be where my mouse cursor is that gets affected, and not where the red cylinder is. Because the red cylinder looks like it's, yeah, if I look above, it looks like it should be there. This is a weird tool. But if I hold right click, oh. Well, that's quite fun. That will be useful later. And we've got these different shapes. Let me undo. But we've got these different shapes. So if we want, we could make some like trees this way. Maybe some like unusual alien trees. And if we have the radius be smaller, oh, it also didn't get as tall. Okay, never mind. I'm completely sidetracked. But if we do this, yeah, let's do a radius of like 32 and just lightly tap. Okay. And then lightly tap. Yeah, I don't think I like this for what we're doing here. There's the smooth tool. Okay, so that's probably what I should have used before to tidy up the lumps. Let's go back to the rock tool and we'll do radius of 1. And we'll just create some kind of lumps around here. So radius of 1 is actually 2 blocks high. But this is, this feels like it's working quite well. We'll come up here and we'll do some more up there and we'll come down here. And then if we do the smooth tool, can we like smooth these edges a bit? Like if we try it on this lump here, we get a bit of a better cliff maybe, or like mountain edge, gradient, whatever word is right. Okay. So yeah, not 100% sure. And obviously, ooh, strength. So if we change the strength, oh, we can flatten things a lot more. Okay. So that's probably a good idea for this, so that we get more of a flatter outside here. And now what I think we want to do is I want to change the ground here. So I think we do that with the painter tool, where we can change just the surface. So let's change to like a mud block. And then if we just do, yeah. And then I think if we take off mask surface, it will be replacing the andesite underneath as well. But what I think we can also do, if we want this area to be mud, is we can use the magic select tool. Matches the same block, ignoring block properties. Yeah. And the limit of 1,000,000. Have we really got more than 1,000,000 blocks here? So if I right click, and then if I right click again, that is now selecting all of the andesite. And then I believe under operations, we can do replace, and we can do from. Control F can be used to fill the selection with blocks. So that's not replace. Control R. Okay, so there's some shortcuts to learn as well. So if I close this and I did Control R, it would bring up the replace. Yeah. So replace from andesite to, replace from, I need to select that, to mud. Wow. We have this very dark mud lands here, which is quite cool. And what I think I want to do is I want to build a tree. This is probably going to be a very slow series. I don't know how much of the process that you guys want to watch. But I am, like I say, I am the most beginner of beginners with this. So if I want to just build in this mode rather than in, the more creative style mode, am I right using the rock tool? Or is that specifically intended for rocks? We've got all of these types of things that we can place as well. So I think I want a cylinder here. And then we can change the height. So cylinder radius 1, that looks like a 3x3 cube, doesn't it? Yeah. And if we go to radius 2, that looks a little bit better. So what I'm thinking here is I once made some amethyst and crying obsidian trees in vanilla, and I thought it'd be fun to try and create like a really big one with this mod. Now, my first one is not going to be brilliant, but especially as I'm learning all of these tools. But if we just right click here, why did that do that? I was genuinely expecting it to be like the highlight. Is that because of the noise? So if I turn the noise up and then right click again, and then I turn the noise back down and right click again. Interesting. And is this one of those things where holding right click helps? Oh. Hello. Okay, so the cylinder is quite good for cliffs then. Not really what I had in mind here, unless I want a really big tree. No, that is too much. Okay, but maybe if we reduce the height and reduce the radius. Yes, my favorite cylinder shape. Let's try that. Okay. So that's not really what I had in mind. Let's increase the height. Yeah. It's an interesting shape, that's for sure. And then noise, if we increase the noise. Whoa, what did that do in the middle there? Huh. That was just one right click. What a shape. Okay, so you know how I mentioned that I wanted things to look weird and alien? That's that's about as weird and alien as you can get. Let's try a smaller radius. I mean, look at that. Maybe we just go really big with this. I wasn't anticipating going this big, but I can't look at this tool and not at least give it a try. So let's cut the radius down and maybe the height down, and then place something on top. That didn't seem to reduce either of those things. And then we'll reduce it down again. Actually, I think the height being taller is better, but we'll reduce that part. I mean, we haven't tried any of these other shapes, have we? Like, what does a cone do? Okay, that fills it out. If I just right-click on the top here. Oh. That was not intended, I'll be honest. But what happens if we do this? Yeah, that's hard to do in a 3D space. I'm going to need to watch some more tutorials on how these work. But we know how the sphere works, right? Get a sphere of 2. We can keep drawing like that. Oh my. So did I just go... Is there a use for doing something like that? Where you start on a build and then end up behind it? Like, this is, again, this is interesting. But I don't think it's what we want. This is such a weird shape. Maybe we do that at the bottom to get some kind of root system. And we know we can smooth this out. I would say trust the process, but I don't trust the process. So I can't expect you guys to... Yeah, but now what I want to do is I want to build off the sides of this, and I don't know the best way to do that. Because I can't just hold right-click like we were doing down below because it's not landing on anything. There's definitely a better way to do this. Maybe we do go bigger spheres then. And we start to like connect. I mean, these are obviously not branches. If you can't tell what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to create the top of the tree where there would be branches. So it's almost like I want to use this tool for the leaves, which is going to be crying obsidian. Yeah, I've got an idea. Okay, let's just try this. I'm going to start it with crying obsidian. And then we're going to actually be placing some smaller rocks on here. And these are where the branches will be. And this should probably be really big. And now I want to like expand the top a little bit. Expand it to 3. We can place a few kind of blobs on top. So it's not just flat and smooth. And then I think similarly on the underneath, we will want to bring a lot of these kind of down. And then I think we do need some branches. Because this is such a tall tree, it's bizarre to not have anything around here. So if we go back to the amethyst, I'm still not trusting the process, but if we just start building out, it feels very thick. So that was radius 3, and now if we do radius 2. See, is this not the best way to like start placing? Like, would I be better off doing this? Oh yeah, I can place from far away and like building a shape and then building the blobs around. Like, why is that not placing anything? Does it think there's enough blocks there? Do I need to move as I'm placing it? I don't know. We'll call that a branch. Okay, you can middle click to change the block though. That's intuitive. I'm glad. So now let's go back to 3. Yeah, am I using the wrong tool here for placing things, or am I just doing it badly? So again, we will like place this. That's just way too big. Way too big. Like here, I would have thought if I right click and then 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 right click, it would create 6 blobs that go out. But that just created 1 and then stopped. So I don't understand, like if I wanted to just paint this branch in the air, is there an easy way to do that? Am I doing it wrong? Is it the fact I've got the noisiness? up? Is that the problem? Is that the problem? Okay. Let me try another branch then. Let me try another branch. We're on radius 2. And if I right click, oh, it's because I had the noise. So the noise was just like deciding that sometimes it wouldn't work. Although, does this not work with radius 1? That's a shame. But yeah, so we can do something like that. And then is the sculpting tool, is that how we get rid of things? Denoise. Sculpt terrain, pulling blocks based on the surface normal. Guys, I've got no idea. So I've noticed this freehand draw, and is that what I'm supposed to be using to make these branches? I think so. So there must be something about the rock tool itself. Maybe it's a little bit smarter and it tries to create realistic rock shapes. Whereas what I'm doing here is I just want to place things. So I should have thought that the freehand draw would make sense. And then if we switch over to this, we can start. This is so much better. It's placing more how I would expect it to place. I do see the problem with only using radius 1. It's ending up a bit like jagged. But for our purposes here, I don't hate that. And then if we do radius 0, is that just placing a block? Yes. Oh, and that's replacing. This looks so bad. Oh dear. Okay. So then what we can do is we can do noise painter, or we can do the painter. I think we do the noise painter, and then we want it to paint. We still want it to stay as crying obsidian on the most part, but then we want there to be some amethyst so that it looks like branches, and then we want there to be some air blocks. I'm not sure. Wow, that noise preview below is so cool. What looks like... let's just try. So what I think I need to do, first of all, is I need to magic select that. And then... So is that selected? I need to right click. And then we go to the noise painter, and then we paint over what we've selected. First off, I think we need to do a bigger radius, so we can just do the whole thing. But I don't think the ratio is right. I think we want more of this. These percentages don't add up to 100. Okay. So that's interesting. So it's added these like threads. These branches. I'm not too sure. I think the air blocks that are around here, that was probably the right thing. I think. I can't actually tell if there's any air blocks in there. I think we probably need more air blocks. So let's go back to noise painter. We'll do more air blocks. We'll do less crown obsidian. And let's not bother with the amethyst. Let's just add air in here. And then we'll do massive radius. How do am I supposed to like come into this view if I want to look at things properly? So, did that add any like air pockets? Did it only work on the outside? Let me go back here and let me undo. So let me select all of this. The selection isn't surface only. Let me just make sure it is like absolutely selecting all of this. And then under noise painter, it is working surface only. So let me remove that and then paste that. Oh, that's why. Okay. So we don't want that much air. So now did that work? Have we started getting some air within here? We have. Okay. Okay. Looks a little bit more like a tree now. And then what we can do is, oh, we can't undo in this mode. So I want to be on type replace on. Oh, and then we've got replace mode here. Yeah. So we can now create some branches like this. And the underneath. This works. I see. I'm understanding now why there's the two modes. I guess it does make sense to kind of flip between the two. And I'm just trying to kind of be a bit random with this. Probably want more near the center than we want to have at the edges. And we need to make sure it looks right from all the angles. So some bits aren't just like actually floating. I do just want to give this guy a face. With his pom-poms in the air. Okay, well that works. I think I'm going to end this here for now. This will probably all get destroyed. I don't mind what we've done down here. We've set an okay foundation. The tree was just a bit silly to mess around with. But if you'd like to join me on this probably a very long journey of learning this mod, then feel free to stick around and subscribe. Thanks for watching.